All right, so we're here today on the podcast that doesn't have a name. And I'm joined by the main man, Billy. So if you've seen on Instagram a few days ago, I said we were going to be recording a podcast specifically talking about Billy and his massive weight loss of 40 kilos, but it's actually 50 kilos, right? So
yeah, that's it.
If I believe correctly, you'd already lost 10 kilos before we met.
Yeah,
Is that right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So a year ago, I decided that I sort of wanted to change my life a little bit and start on a bit of a journey and sort of made some changes and lost an initial 10 kilos, but then sort of got in touch with you and we started working. Now we're 40 kilos into something and just getting started, and we'll see how it goes from here. But yeah, it's a good first year for me.
And we always make a joke. So we have a member of staff on the retreat called Curly, and she's like, I think she's like 52 kilos. And we were joking like last week, Billy's almost lost a full Curly, which is crazy. But yeah, the reason I wanted to get him on a podcast, like, don't really have any intentions of starting a podcast. I mean, I don't know though, because this studio looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So maybe if this one goes all right.
Very professionally, aren't we?
We've set the bar really high, so we've got to maintain it now. But yeah, no, the reason I wanted to get him on a podcast is because, again, talking about this amazing weight loss that he's achieved, and hopefully you guys who watch this podcast might be on like a weight loss journey of your own. You might be struggling to lose weight. You might have started a weight loss journey or stopped, wherever you're at. Hopefully you can take a little bit of inspiration, get some new ideas if you're struggling to lose weight, and hopefully we can help you like lose a little bit more weight yourself. So what I want to do first, I want to take it right back to the start. So me and Billy met, it's about a year ago now, isn't it? Roughly.
Yeah.
About this time
about 9 months. About 9 months.
So what was the like deciding factor for you to reach out? Obviously, you started with us at Lamai Fitness, then you've had a few stints on the retreat, and then in between those times, we've stayed working together in the online program. But just taking it right back before like you reached out to Lamai Fitness, what was the real deciding factor for you to kind of make that change in the beginning?
Yeah, I think it goes back more than a year ago. I think sort of growing up, I was always the bigger kid in the class, but I always played sport. I went to the gym. I did all those things, but my fitness was never there. Like I remember year 8 for us, we did fitness tests in school PE, and the bottom 30 of us, we got put in Fat Club and had to come for extra morning sessions and do extra fitness.
Did they actually call it Fat Club?
No, that's what we called it. And me and my mates now joke about it because I'd turn up to Fat Club and do some fitness, but then we'd all just go to Macca's afterwards. Like it was just...
For any English people watching, Macca's is actually Mackey's or McDonald's.
Or McDonald's. But so for me, it wasn't... Exercise for me has never been the hard part. Food's always been the hard part for me. And going. And a year ago, I'm a school teacher, so we get holidays throughout the year. So a year ago, I went on a trip to Japan, and during that week, sort of was taking selfies of myself and things, and just looking at myself, going, "Wow!" Like, sort of, and then jumped on the scales when I got back, and it's the heaviest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I sort of just thought, right, you need to do it now.
Yeah.
And then sort of started going on by myself, but I've tried to lose weight 20 times and I can always lose 10 or 15 kilos and then work gets in the way, life gets in the way, you get busy, and then, well, you stop again. Like I've got countless times where I've gone, right, the next 10 weeks, Billy, if you can just focus for the next 10 weeks, you'll make a change. And then 6 days in, you fall off the bandwagon, then it goes down the drain. And then 50 days later, you go, wow, it's not actually that much time. If I could have just stuck to it, I would have seen a difference by now, but you failed again. And so for me, 12 months ago, that's when I went, right, you need to do something. We need to stick to it this time. I'd stopped going to the doctor about 2 or 3 years ago just because I knew what they were going to say. they're always, you've got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you need to lose weight.
Yeah. I think sometimes doctors kind of put the fear of God into you a little bit, don't they?
And so you stopped going, but I also went, right, this is really bad because you've got all these things. You're now just running away from problems, Sort yourself out. And actually, I went to the doctor a month ago. Blood pressure's normal. Cholesterol's getting there.
Yeah.
She didn't want to medicate or anything. Like she just said, just keep doing what you're doing. And everything else was pretty normal. So it's really cool as like an outcome of the last year. But yeah, it was more just I finally went, right, we need to start somewhere and let's do it. And like I said, did the first 10 kilos, but about 5 weeks in, I went, right, we're getting to the point where I always get to. I can do 4 or 5 weeks. Let's reach out. I did some Googling, did some research, found the MyFitness, reached out. So September, came out for 2 weeks in Thailand, and we're in Thailand. Thailand's a great place to drop some weight. You just sweat, as I am right now, but that's where we sort of formed our first relationship and got on a little bit and started what we're doing. And the next 9 months hasn't all been smooth sailing. It's been up and down. School teacher, working schools are stressful places, holidays, Christmas, all those things. But instead of falling off the wagon and not getting back on, I've been able to fall off for some periods of time quite a lot, but then jump back on. And we're here now. I think it's really funny for me now, like I've lost, 50 kilos in a year, but I'm now at the point where others are starting. Like, which I think's amazing. Like, we can celebrate all we want to celebrate because I have done a lot in the last year, but really I'm only at the starting point now.
So just, I want to touch on there, mate, because I think this is quite something that a lot of guys, like I work obviously with guys, and when I'm speaking to them, the number one thing is they always talk about, I'll always get started. You know, I'll start off really well. I'll be really motivated. And then like 3-4 weeks in, they just fall off the wagon, you know, as we like to call it. But speaking to someone who's been in that position, but is no longer in that position, why do you think that is? Why do you think people always like have good intentions and they start off really well, but then something just seems to come up and they just give up and throw everything out of the window? Why is that?
Yeah, I've done a lot of analysing of my own over the last year, and like I think other times I've tried to do something, I've gone, right, everyone says you got to do 10,000 steps a day. And for where I was, just that wasn't achievable. But I think we often try go all in and right, we've got to get in the gym 4 or 5 days a week. We've got to lift heavy really, really early. We've got to get steps in. We've got to absolutely, let's eat 1,500 calories a day. Like all or nothing approach. And that can work for short periods of time, but it's not sustainable. A big thing for me and when we started working together was you said, right, you've got a phone that'll be collecting your step data. At that time, I'd never worn a watch before. I don't like wearing watches. I wear one now. I wear one now. And it's been a really important tool for me. But we found out that on average, I was walking less than 5,000 steps a day. And so for you just said, right, walk 6 to 8. And at the start, there was some days where that was really challenging. I was tired from work. I was doing it, but all of a sudden it wasn't an extra 5,000 steps I had to walk. It was an extra 1,000. And that little change. And now I'm sort of at that 10 or 12,000 mark. Naturally, I'm more active at work. I'm getting up for breaks. I'm going for walks, and I'm finding those little bits throughout the day that I can get a little bit of a walk in. Whether or not for me, my job, it's going visiting classrooms, or it's just going, right, it's been an hour, you've sat at your desk, go and get a drink or something. But that's probably what I think is people go all in and you can't go all in. Like I think that's what I've learned over time and time again, failing at losing weight, because it is and keeping the weight off. Like it's funny. I first registered my weight on MyFitnessPal in 2014.
Yeah.
I'm now 3 or 4 kilos lower than I was then.
Yeah.
But if you look at my little mountain climb thing,
It's probably
it goes up and down, up and down,
Yeah,
up and
yeah,
down
yeah.
because that's
on that stop-start kind of
yeah,
cycle. Yeah.
and it's not sustainable. So
Yeah.
for me, that's probably the biggest one is don't feel that you have to dive in and get everything right straight away.
Yeah. Everybody's looking for perfection now, right?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like everybody just needs to kind of manage their expectations a little bit. And I think social media kind of plays a part in that. But, and I've said this for years, but I think like the old school like bodybuilding era plays a big part, you know, like eating clean 24/7, chicken, rice and broccoli. You've got to be doing these amounts, this kind of workout, X amount of days a week, X amount of cardio steps. And if you don't do this, you're going to fail, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's really just about managing expectations because, and I was saying this to you, I think like last week, you can find on Google within like 10 minutes how to lose weight. The principles are there, but the one thing that it's missing, it's like everybody's needs a unique approach. It's not like a one size fits all thing. Every single person needs some kind of like different level of approach. Like some things might be similar, the approach might be similar, but like everybody's got like different environments. They've been brought up a certain way. They have certain thoughts around food. They have certain habits around food, which is why it's super important to get that unique approach. And I think a lot of people miss out on that. A lot of people don't understand that. They just see like what the fitness influence is posting on Instagram, telling them that they need to eat this and this, cut out carbs or whatever it is. But like that's generic. You know, we all need that unique approach. And I think that's something that we've kind of molded for you over this past kind of year, which is the next thing I want to talk about. So it's not all been plain sailing, has it?
No.
I think people will look at this and think, oh, 50 kilos, that's amazing. Like, and obviously it is amazing. It's like, it's the most weight I've ever helped anybody lose, that's for sure. But like, there's been some ups and downs as well, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, 50 kilos in sort of 52 weeks is huge, but scientifically, when you're starting at a larger weight, you're naturally going to lose more weight quickly. I lost more weight in the first 6 months than I have in this second 6 months. And what I say about your coaching structure is I know my way around a gym. I know how to train. That's not the bit of support I needed. If I needed the support of having someone next to me in a gym every day,
You'd pay someone to do
I
it,
would have
right?
paid someone to do that, to be next to me in a gym. But that's not what I needed. What I need, and I refer to your coaching service and your coaching as more accountability for me.
Definitely.
So you and I check in every day. I think for the last year we've checked in every single day. That's how many steps have you done? Is your eating on track? And then where your superpower has been in the when I don't reply for a few days.
Yeah.
And I think at one point you started sending voice messages and things like that and getting quite grumpy at me a little bit because you said...
We won't repeat their voice notes.
No, but there was one you sent and you said, Billy, you asked for accountability. I'm giving you accountability and you're not replying to me.
Yeah.
And I left it for a few days and then I just said, mate, I'm really struggling at the moment. This is hard.
Yep. And I think as well, mate, I knew that as well. And I think sometimes blokes, again, we spoke about this again the other day, a lot of blokes aren't really open to being held accountable, especially someone as yourself, like who's like in a bit more of a senior position. Like a lot of people look to you as like a bit of a leader and stuff. Like a lot of blokes in that position, they think they know best, you know, and I'm only speaking from experience because I used to be like that as well. I used to think Elliot knows best for Elliot, you know, and it wasn't until I got a coach of my own, shout out Paul Mort, that I actually saw the power of being held accountable. But yeah, sorry, mate, I butted in there. Carry on.
No, I just it sort of keeps me thinking in the sense that the other thing I've done in the last year has been really open with what I'm trying to achieve with everyone around me.
Yeah.
Previously, like I've tried to lose weight but not told anyone because I've got I've had this thing in my head that if you're losing weight and people are going, oh, you've lost weight, that means that there was something wrong before. And it's sort of going,
That's interesting.
like,
I've never heard anybody put it in that.
yeah,
kind of
like
perspective before.
if you're congratulating someone on achieving something, it means there was a deficit before and something wrong before.
Yeah.
I really struggled to take positive feedback.
Yeah.
Like I don't like compliments. I don't
Yeah.
like that sort of attention.
And that's something we've discussed as well.
Yeah,
innit? Yeah.
But this time over the last 12 months, I think the retreat has been a big part of that as well. Talking to other people who are on their own journeys and
Yeah.
realizing that actually no one's judging you negatively. They're actually all in your corner.
100%.
That's been a big one for me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a complete mind shift. Like being really, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm doing this. Hey guys, I'm going to come out tonight, but I'm going to drive.
Yeah.
Not just because I want to make sure that I don't turn tonight's drinking into tomorrow's eating, and then one thing turns into a whole weekend. And my mates have been on board. Like I was looking, I think for me, like you sort of spoke about how Instagram and social media can be a negative in the sense that we see the ideals of what we should, but there's a whole nother section of social media that's been really positive for me.
100%.
And we spoke about that last week too, but of seeing other people who have had massive weight drop
Yeah.
and seeing them document their challenges,
Yeah.
I think has been, for me, really cool. I enjoy seeing people who make some recipes. I don't like the ones where it's all recipes or they seem like they're unachievable recipes. I'm not someone who's in the kitchen
Like
cooking lots.
kale, organic.
Yeah, or
raw-
just
raw avocado. that
yeah,
kind of
or
stuff.
just like things that take 20 steps. I'm a busy person. I don't have time for that, but more, hey, you're going into the shops, this would be a better choice. There's some people doing some really cool ones of those, and I've been able to work with some of those, but there's others that I just look at and go, I'd never do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's also the realization that weight loss isn't the same for everyone. Like, and food's
Exactly.
not the same for everyone.
And
but
that goes
if-
back to what we just said there, right? Like it's different for everyone.
But if the basic principle of weight loss really, if it's calories in, calories out. Like you can't be feeding your body with fuel and not burning that fuel.
Yeah.
And there's been times over this last year where I've sort of had to remember that because I've been laying in bed at night so hungry in the
Yeah.
sense that I'd eaten my calories for the day.
Yeah.
But I am just going, right, you spent 30 years building a fuel source within you. It's all right.
Yeah.
But I think if we go back right to the start of this conversation where I said growing up we'd go to fitness and then go to Mackey's.
Yeah.
For you British, there you go. But I think food can become addictive and sugar and fat and all those and dopamine spikes in your brain and
Yep.
you use food as a source of happiness and emotionally eat and all of those sorts of things.
Yep.
And I think I've done that as well. I think they're normal things. I think everyone actually does things like
Yep.
that, except, and this is, I'll say normal people versus me because my weight hasn't been normal. I've been outside normality. You might go and get a cheeseburger. I'll go get 6.
Yep.
Or or on a Saturday night, if I can't decide between a pizza, Chinese and fish and chips,
Get all.
I'll get all 3.
Yeah.
Whereas a normal person would go, rightio, this week I'll get a pizza.
Yeah.
Next week I'll get a Chinese. The week after I'll get fish and chips.
Yeah.
And that hasn't completely stopped over this last year. Like there's been Friday nights where it's been a stressful thing, a stressful week at work or something's happened. But what I'm getting better at is going, right, you can't decide, cool, Billy, that's where you're at tonight.
Yeah.
But don't get a large pizza, get a small one. Or you and I had a conversation last week about food pairing.
Yep.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah, which was sort of new to me. I hadn't thought
Yeah.
of that. Do you want? Yeah, tell me more about food pairing.
Yeah, so essentially, food pairing, like, it's a really simple concept. Like, you just pair up a food with what you want with something that you need. So, like, for example, I'm a huge pastry lover, as everybody who follows me on Instagram probably knows. But what I'll do, like, if I just go and have a pastry by itself, it's like, depending on what kind it is, it could be anywhere between 200 to 400 calories, right? And it's like, it's empty calories, it's not really satiating. So what I'll do instead is, like, I'll get the pastry, but then I'll have a protein shake and like a small box of blueberries, you know. So I'm giving my body what it needs along with what it wants, building up like a meal out of it. I'm getting my protein, I'm getting some micronutrients in there, but I'm also getting the pastry, which is the best part. But it's really simple. You can do it with anything really. I think it takes a little bit of practice, again, just because what you spoke about there, a lot of people can't control portions of food that they eat, like in terms of, like, you know, chocolate, pizza, or all that kind of stuff. It does take a little bit of work. The concept of it, like the concept of everything, it's really simple, and it's really effective as well once you can kind of get it right. But one thing that just came to my mind there, mate, and I always say this to you, like, I think the whole emotional eating thing and like being able to control your emotions around food, your responses to food, I think it requires a level of self-awareness, and I feel like that's something you've got. I feel like you're quite self-aware about your habits. I don't think you used to be as much, like not when we first met, but I think over time, like, I know you're very kind of proactive, you know, listening to podcasts, doing your own research, all that kind of stuff. I feel like you've developed a lot of self-awareness about yourself, about what makes you tick, about if you're a little bit more stressed out, like how you're going to respond to things. So just talk to me a little bit more about that. How do you feel like you've kind of got to that point?
Yeah, I think it's something that I've worked really hard on the last 12 months. And it's something that when I did decide that, right, Billy, it's time now, we need to start a journey and lose some weight and keep it off, that I had to click in my brain and become a bit more self-aware. For me, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's more putting time and effort in. Like, while you were talking just then, my brain was going to I've realised over the last 12 years, nothing happens easily. People need to be prepared and put in the hard work. And sometimes, and this again is the bad side of social media, and we're changing tact a little bit, but you do see the end product sometimes. But I think something that you do really well sometimes is you post a week, like, here's what I did this week. And actually, yeah, you were at work for 40 hours, but you managed to fit in 3 gym sessions and a couple of runs and things like that. And so where I've got a bit better, I think, is on a Saturday morning, I'll wake up at 7 and get my steps in for the day.
Yeah.
Then they're done.
Yeah.
Rather than I could spend a Saturday or Sunday, get out of bed, go lay on the couch, not do anything.
Maybe take it a little bit easy with food.
Order food in, and all of a sudden the whole day, there's 1,000 steps in an entire day. So I think for me, being self-aware has more been being more prepared of what's going to come. I go away for work a fair bit, and so that's been a complete mind shift, because you go, we stay in hotels, there's buffet breakfast, buffet lunch.
That requires a bit of
we go out
willpower in itself as well, right?
It's willpower and self-awareness. But talking about willpower, I remember I sent you a message once and you said, what's your plan for this week, mate? You're away at a conference for 3 days. What's your plan? And I said, I'm just going to have willpower. And you said, willpower's not enough.
It's not a strategy, right?
It's not a strategy. Yeah. What is your strategy?
Yeah.
And then you fed me info throughout the day. Right, fill up on water. Make sure you got a cup of water all the time. When morning tea or lunch comes, don't go stand next to the buffet and have your conversations, go somewhere else. So you're not just picking. For me, it was right early on in the day, like their long days sitting in meeting rooms, get a really high protein breakfast in. That's going to satiate you. It's going to keep you full up until lunch. don't just go do anything. And that's really tricky too, because socially at night, it's the done thing. You go to the pub, have a few beers and things like that. And it's realising that no one actually cares what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Realistically. So I was able to go, and I'd go and have a couple of beers. Like, I haven't cut out alcohol completely. I've reduced the amount of alcohol I was drinking. I probably didn't have the best relationship with alcohol.
Yep.
But I'd go for a couple of beers, but then just switch to Coke Zero. Mm-hmm. And no one...
Did anyone say anything?
Not really.
Yeah.
Or I'd just go, oh, no, I'm going to get up and go for a walk in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you realise, as people themselves become more intoxicated, they're in their own
They
world
forget,
anyway.
right?
And then you just walk out the door. But I've still been able to be social. I haven't locked myself in a room somewhere. But I've sort of had to change my mindset and be aware, because that's where things have gone wrong, and then you fall off and then you go down a hole. Like, the last year's there has had to be sacrifices, because sacrifice is change. Mm-hmm. But if you're sacrificing for something that I know in the long run will be an improvement, I think...
What have those sacrifices looked like for you specifically?
They haven't been huge, Elliot. Which is probably the biggest thing for me, is actually...
I'm glad you said that.
They're not...
Because a lot of people think
they
need to completely overhaul their entire lifestyle, right?
Really, because like I just said, actually, realising that no one actually cares what other people are doing, and actually everyone's in your corner. What you thought were sacrifices probably weren't. And there's been times where you play with your own brain and play with your own mind, and your mind wants you to pull into that servo and get whatever you can get out of the hot box, and a couple of sausage rolls and things like that. And I might still pull into the servo, but...
What's a servo?
A servo, a service station, a services, you know. But
I've never heard that
on the way
before.
home, servo.
I feel like Aussie's always like short on words.
Weirdo.
Servo, Avo. What else is there?
Bottle-o for the bottle shop, the liquor mart where you buy your liquor.
Never heard that. Yeah.
But on the way home, driving home, that's a big one.
Yeah.
You're stressed.
Yeah.
Easy,
convenient.
So it comes back for me being a bit prepared. Actually, is not eating a sausage roll a sacrifice, or is that just a better choice? And I think it's, when I've said sacrifices, I actually reflecting, I don't think, in hindsight, looking at a year, it hasn't been that hard.
Yeah.
Because little changes have made a huge difference. And little changes over a long period of time. I didn't go all out at the start. I got my steps up slowly. We started on higher calories. You were able to tell me, hey, Billy, you need to be eating this many calories a day. I'd work out, right, I know that I'm going out for dinner on Friday night, so actually that day I'm going to eat a few more calories. I know I am. So the day before I won't eat as much, and I'll just, instead of thinking it as each day, I've thought about it across a week. That's worked better for me. But yeah, those little things, getting my steps in each day, getting my food right, has meant that what I probably perceived as a sacrifice prior hasn't fully been a sacrifice, because I've also come to the realisation that everyone is on your side. And I still hate compliments. I don't like it, because again, it's that same connotation that if you're giving someone a compliment about a change, it means there was something wrong before. But I'm also realising it's actually an act of encouragement.
100%. Yeah. And it's probably people who care about you as well, right?
And I have a fear. It's a huge fear that it's not going to be sustainable, and that in a year's time we'll be back to square one.
Do you still have that now?
I think so.
Just in the back of your mind a little bit?
Yeah, I think so, because it's happened before. But I think what's happened this time is I've had someone who is right in my corner, and I know will keep me on track, and that's been the best thing. And I don't think for me our relationship will be a short-term one. I think it's going to have to be a long-term one. I think the world is getting better at realizing that you don't have to do things on your own in any sense of the word. So
Yeah, there seems to be a coach for everything. these
yeah,
days,
there
right?
is. But
Yeah.
is that also because we're realizing that that's what people need?
Seeing the value in it, yeah.
Yeah, seeing
Yeah.
the value in people helping others.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of my big ones now is moving forward. Like, it's been really cool. One of my triggers for wanting to start all this was no clothes in my wardrobe fit anymore.
Yeah.
Not one. Like, no,
What does that feel like? Like when
embar-
obviously you've lost all this weight.
Well-
So, do you mean prior to losing the
Yeah,
weight?
prior. So
Yeah.
I got to the point where nothing fit. My t-shirts went halfway down my belly.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Like, because
Yeah.
you're like, what am I going to wear?
Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
got to go buy new clothes for work. I've
Yeah.
got to do all this. So that was one of my triggers.
Yeah.
It's really cool now. I can walk into my wardrobe and open it, and every single thing in there fits.
So yeah, that's what I was just
Yeah, like,
referring to. So
it's-
what does that feel like? Like
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've probably got half a wardrobe still with tags on it, because you buy clothes and you go, oh, buy it. It doesn't quite fit, but I'll lose some weight and it'll
yeah,
fit.
yeah.
But there's clothes I bought 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's really funny. Like, I've lost weight, but I don't need to go buy a heap more clothes, because actually the clothes that used to fit me are fitting me again. And I think that's a confidence boost in itself, is just stuff fits now. Like, and then, like, I've seen TikToks and Instagrams, and they're so true. Like, fat guys will always like pull their shirt out and stuff like that to try and,
Yeah.
but don't need to really do that anymore. Like, I'm becoming more comfortable in what I can do. I can do activities and not be puffed out. I can, just be more myself, and probably a better version of myself.
Yeah.
Which, again, it comes into that mindset of, well, were you not yourself before? Well, I've always been me. My personality's always been the same. My personality will remain the same.
Yeah.
But my ability to do things or be there for people or want to be there for people has probably changed. My sleep habits have got heaps better.
Talk to me more about that.
Yeah.
How important do you think that is?
We know sleep's important. Science says sleep's important. But
me and you do. But the people watching this,
Yeah.
what would you say to them? Because I think a lot of people, Billy, like, I saw a stat, like the sleep percentage for a lot of people, especially like in the UK, like majority of people watching this will be UK based. No one's sleeping.
yeah,
Like sleeps, the numbers tell us that like people are averaging like 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours, which is insane. So how's that impacted your weight loss?
yeah. I probably get. I probably still don't sleep as much as I should, in the sense that high stress job, my brain ticks over constantly while I'm at work. But I think the quality of my sleep's improved. Your little watch that tells you your sleep score and how accurate it is.
Yeah.
And my theory is, no, it's not specific and really accurate on a micro level, but on a macro level, there's probably some data points that it's collecting that can tell you roughly.
Yep.
And I was getting sort of 60s, 70s as my sleep score, and now I'm getting 85s, 90s, which tells me the quality of my sleep's better.
Yep. How's that directly impacted your weight loss, do you think?
Wake up with more energy. I think that's part of it. But also your brain can function. I'm getting less brain something.
brain
I'm getting
fog.
it right now.
Yeah.
But I'm getting less of that throughout the day.
Yeah.
I can make clearer decisions
A lot
throughout the
less
day.
stressed as well, I assume.
Lot less stress.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it has meant that I can fall asleep quicker as well. Because that's probably a big one, is that sometimes if you haven't done exercise, your body hasn't burnt the fuel, and therefore you lay in bed wide awake because your body's still going, I've got fuel to burn, I've got fuel to burn.
Yeah.
But actually, if you do exercise, which I'm getting better at, that then means I can fall to sleep better,
Yeah.
get up better. I've played around with training times.
Yep.
I don't know what works best for me yet. I think it depends on my work schedule. I think the way the programs are written, that you have it, I've just got to get them done sometime throughout the week. Like, I'm not someone in my job that can go, right, I go at Monday on a 5:30 and on a Wednesday at this time, because there's some days where I'm at work till 8, 9 at night.
Yep.
Getting in at 6 in the morning,
Yep.
long days. So I just fit them in.
How do you find that works for you? Because, again, a lot of men watching this, they'll probably have busy, like most people I speak to have got busy schedules. And a big thing is they might struggle to fit in the workouts. What advice would you give to someone who's watching who may struggle to fit their workouts in as well?
There's always time. You just don't realise it. That's probably been a big one for me.
Yeah.
Is
I'm glad you said that.
there is time, and I think your weeks where you send out sometimes and you put out, this is what I've achieved this week,
Yeah.
sort of made me realise that too. Like,
And that's exactly why I do it.
yeah,
You know, just to make people realise, people, and I think as well, people look at me and they think, oh, he's a PT, he trains, it's his job, it's easy for him. But you look on my Instagram, I used to be fat.
Yeah.
Like, not massively overweight, but overweight enough where I didn't feel confident in myself and I felt like I needed to make a change. So it's not as if I'm coming from a position of, like, I don't get it, because I do. But, and I'm not going to sit here and say we all have the same hours in the day. Like, technically we do, but everybody's circumstances are different. But it just comes down to what you prioritise, essentially, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
And for me, like, the sessions you've written me for the gym are about 45 minutes. They'd take me about
Efficient.
45 minutes. Yep. Go in there, work hard, get it done. It's about a 10-minute drive each way
Yep.
for me. So if I'm going to get up and train in the morning, I pack my work clothes, I have a shower at the gym, straight to work.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, right, make sure the clothes are in the car, and that's about being prepared and self-aware.
Yep.
And then
That's a James Clear, Atomic Habits, innit?
Yeah.
Get your running shoes out,
Yeah.
put them by the door. It's little things like that, but it makes a huge difference, right?
Huge difference. And then sometimes you've just got to walk through the door.
Yeah,
Just get in the door of the gym,
yeah,
and it'll be all right.
yeah.
I remember I texted you once and said, mate, that was the worst session I've ever done.
Yeah.
And you go, that's all right. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine. At least you turned up and did something.
Yeah.
And that's been a mentality that I've sort of driven through as well, is just get there and do it. There's some weeks where I haven't got to the gym 3 times.
Yeah.
I haven't got my sessions done.
Were you ever in that class? I think you might have been there. I can't remember, but someone said to me after the class, she said, that was a terrible workout, Elliot. I performed really bad. And I turned around to her and I said, well, a shit workout's better than no workout, right? And she was like, oh my God, like, yeah, you're right. But it's true, innit? Like, a shit workout is better than no workout.
Yeah.
And I think, again, people think every session needs to be perfect. And it goes back to what we said right at the beginning. People looking for perfection, people not managing expectations, and ultimately they don't have the best session, they might not have the best day eating, and oh, fuck this.
Yeah,
Fuck this. I'm
done.
I'm done. It's all, so yeah, it's
It's not for me.
Yeah.
This thing's not for me.
yeah.
Well, actually, I really think it is for you.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so many times where I think you're getting your head as well. Like, there's been times where I've like, right, I'll just text Elliot and I'll just go, mate, stop wasting your time on me. Like, I'm not worth your time because things weren't going right.
Yeah.
But then I think you were really good at going, no, come on, let's
Yeah.
keep going. Like,
Yeah.
I'll always be there for you.
Yeah, stop being a drama queen.
Yeah, stop being drama queen. Let's get on with it. And it's been those times that I would have been done previously.
Yeah.
not done, and then it's another one of those spikes in those mountains. But
And I think as well, Billy, I think you gain a lot of confidence from that. Like doing things when it's not convenient, doing things when you feel like not doing them, showing up when you feel like throwing in the towel. Like a big part of building confidence is, and again, this is a quote from one of my old coaches, just doing what you said you would do. Like if you stick to your word, like as a man, like you gain confidence from that. If you tell someone you're going to do something and you go and do it, it makes you feel good.
yeah,
You know? And like you there, you're saying, oh, you know, I feel like there was times where I felt like I was going to give up and, you know, it's not for me and this and that. Like when you bounce back from that, like you probably felt pretty good, right? You know?
yeah. I think you start to realize that you are allowed bumps in the road. I sort of go with, I'm not an expert at fitness, at weight loss, at any of those things.
Yeah.
And I've sort of, but I think you're an expert at coaching, and that's a skill that you've got is coaching
Thank you.
others. So let's use other people's expertise. Like if we draw that comparison, like I go to the hairdresser. I hate when they ask me what I want done. It's their job. like how much do you want taken off the top? I don't know.
Yeah.
You're the hairdresser. Like there's some times where I don't want to make decisions and I need others to make those decisions for me. And that's been part of this as well. Although I've spoken about being really prepared and making conscious decisions about things.
Yeah.
There's other bits that you've made decisions for me because yes, I can go on Google, but Google is a big place.
Yeah.
You're able to manipulate all that information so it's personalized for me because I'm on a weight loss journey. Whereas I know some of the other clients that you coach, they're on a strength journey or a building muscle or toning up or anything like that. And I think you said it before, it's not a one size fits all answer.
Yep.
But being able to go, right, that works for me
Yep.
is really cool. And I think we're at the point now that I'm just at the start, really. I think I've said to you, I'm just at the start 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But goalpost shifts now. So I've hit my first goal.
Yep.
That was goal one. It's a goal I've been working on for 8 years.
Yep.
So now we've got the next step, and the next step is to hit a weight that in the north of Thailand, in a place called Chiang Mai, there's a thing called the Flight of the Gibbons.
Right.
It's a zip line thing, and I came to Thailand backpacking in 2013.
Yeah.
My mates all went and did it.
Yeah.
I was over the weight limit.
Yeah. What's the weight limit?
That's 130,
How far off are you from hitting that now?
about 20 kilos.
Yeah.
So that for me is my next goal. I want to go to Chiang Mai and be able to do that activity because...
Well, I tell you what, Billy, when we get that next milestone, I'll come with you.
Yeah,
to Chiang Mai.
we're going.
Yeah.
But that for me, it's really funny, and they might listen to this conversation. And at the time, I just played it off. Oh, it's all right. I ended up walking up a few hills, and I got blind drunk
Just
with some villagers.
Yeah.
Like it was in the middle, but just sat at these little and don't worry, guys. I had the best afternoon and stuff.
But deep
That
down,
was all of us. It was
Yeah.
highly embarrassing.
Yeah. I can imagine.
And then my next one after that, which I think's 120 kilos, is go and donate blood in a mobile blood bank, because when I was at school, we all went through the blood bank,
Yeah.
and I stepped on the scales, went, "You're too heavy for our beds in this van. Sorry, mate."
Yeah.
Again, highly embarrassing.
Yeah.
And you sort of keep those things, and
They stick with you, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But right, we're on a conscious journey now.
Yeah.
Let's just start to push through. I think my weight loss will slow down now. I don't think it will happen as quickly, but if we set those little goals and slowly work towards them, we'll chip away and we'll get there.
Yep.
That's sort of the next steps for me. I
So-
think, really.
If for anybody who's watching this, who's, again, might have been in your shoes, lost a little bit of weight, put the weight back on, lost a little bit of weight, maybe can't do certain things because of their weight, maybe they've got clothes that are too tight for them. What would your advice be?
All right, we'll do it as a story because it's another part of this whole psyche of my brain being against me and trying to find excuses for things. But I never ate watermelon. Over the last 10 years, I've never eaten watermelon. I now eat loads of watermelon. But the reason I never ate watermelon, because I remember hearing somewhere that there was lots of sugar in watermelon, and lots of sugar that's going to make you fat.
I still hear stuff like that now.
Yeah.
About fruit.
However, I can tell you now, it wasn't the watermelon that made me fat.
Yeah. No one's ever got fat eating too much fruit,
No.
right?
No.
Yeah.
And so for me, eat the watermelon.
Yeah.
Losing weight really isn't hard in the sense that it's eat less than your body needs to do things. The hard bit comes in doing it day after day after day after day.
Yeah.
And so my advice is don't let a bad day become a bad weekend. Don't let a bad weekend become a bad next week. And then don't go, well, I've had a bad weekend. We're done.
Yep.
Let's finish it off. And it's too hard.
So just keep going.
It's going to be, just keep
regardless.
going. There was a period in April and May where I didn't lose any weight at all. And I was like, oh, I think I'm doing all, like, I wasn't there. And I was still walking, I was still doing bits, but not everything was perfect. And then I went, right here, come on, back onto it.
Yeah.
And we go again. I think the last thing as well is realizing that weight loss and things like that aren't linear. It doesn't just happen the same thing every week.
Yep.
If you equate that to a professional athlete has a personal best. Every time someone runs 100 meters, they're not hitting their personal best every single time. They're going pretty close.
Yeah.
But if everyone got better every single day,
Everyone would be amazing.
everyone would be.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Is we go in, we turn up, we keep going, we keep going, we keep going.
Marginal gains.
Yeah, little things add up would be something massive for me as well.
Again, for anybody watching who's struggled to lose weight, who's like constantly on that merry-go-round, what would you tell them? What like, you know, because a lot of people just kind of write themselves off as, you know, I'm a failure. I've done this over and over and over again. They'll try, they'll fail, they'll try, they'll fail. You've said there about like just keep going. But what like kind of practical, useful advice that you've learned would you advise? Would you tell them?
Yeah, it's a weird question because I don't think I'm in a place to give advice, but I guess I am because the last 12 months has been.
I think you are.
Yeah, has been positive. I think we just said it. Small bits add up. Like that to me is.
But what about if like someone struggles with that mindset of like marginal gains? What if they're in that all or nothing kind of mentality? You know.
Yeah.
Do you think it takes a little bit more than just advice? Do you think it takes like structure, like a plan? What do you reckon?
I think it does. I think you need to be prepared. My biggest win in the last 12 months has been jumping on with a coach.
Yep.
And having someone in my corner. It's been realizing that actually everyone's in your corner and people aren't judging you negatively.
Yep.
Actually, they're judging you positively.
Yep.
And they're realizing the work you've put in. But I think as well, sometimes we can go, find excuses.
Yep.
And some excuses are really menial, small things.
What's been one of your biggest excuses that you can think of?
Things like going for a walk or something like that. Oh, those shoes are a bit wet, I won't go. Like things like that. Like making,
It's raining.
It's raining.
Do you not have a coat?
Yeah,
Put your coat, yeah.
but little things like that Yeah,
You just
you
look.
get-
Yeah, I think sometimes people look for excuses.
you
though, don't
find
they?
the excuse,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, there's someone else, a quote I've heard, that's do the best you can with what you've got.
Yep.
And so if that's what you're doing, don't let those excuses become bigger and bigger and bigger, but
Yep.
just do the best you can with what you've got. You might not have access to a gym.
Or even a coach.
Or a coach.
You know, some people can't afford it, or don't want a coach, or want to do it by themselves. And a lot of people have done it by themselves. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think having that mentality, do the best you can with what you've got, is huge as well. I think the gym for me, whereas on previous weight loss attempts, I've honed in on the gym being a major part. For my journey this time, the gym's actually been an accessory and a secondary part.
Yeah.
For me, it's been walking.
Yeah.
But that's been the biggest thing for me, is moving
Yeah.
and eating at home.
Yeah.
And eating, not getting takeout every night, because
Yeah.
that's an easy option. And sticking to some calories. There's good. MyFitnessPal is a huge help for tracking calories. There was a point where I wasn't tracking my calories, and I said, I'll track calories next week. And then there'd been a month, and I went, oh, Elliot, yeah, I haven't lost any weight this month, but
Funny that.
I'm down a belt loop. And you went,
Yeah.
oh, cool, mate, but how do you know what you're eating's proper?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm sort of guessing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a little bit. But then once I actually took the time to track, and it gets easier. Tracking calories gets easier, because if you are making the same meal, like you might have the same meal week after week, you can just add it in as a quick meal.
Yeah.
Or
You start to understand.
You
don't Like,
understand-
portion sizes. Oh, maybe that's maybe a little bit less there, a little bit more. Yeah.
yeah, or actually you don't need. So a big one for me is realizing I don't need 600 grams of steak every night. Like, that 250 grams is enough.
Yeah.
But there's an extra 300 or 400 calories that
How do you have your steak, by the way?
medium rare.
Good answer.
But yeah, that's been a big one for me, realizing that portion control and size, and actually you don't need to eat till you're full and can't move. Yeah. There's lots we haven't covered. We're going to have to come back for part 2, I
Maybe
think,
we'll
at
do part two.
some stage.
Maybe-
Because,
Maybe we do a part 2 when you return to Samui.
yeah.
So for anyone watching, Billy is now a local. He's going to be living in Samui, right?
Yeah, living here, got a job over here, you know.
And keep an even closer eye on him. And, yeah. So last thing, Billy, before we wrap it up, what's next? What's the next kind of goal for you? And what I want you to do, I want you to look into that camera, and I want you to declare your goal for some public accountability.
Yeah, I don't like public accountability. I don't like people but I think for me, we had a conversation this week, and the conversation was, in my brains, we're doing workouts in this week, and I can feel myself that I'm not getting as gassed or worn out as I was 9 months ago. But my body and my brain
Still
is
thinks you're at that level.
Still thinks I'm 50
Yeah.
kilos heavier.
Yeah.
And so I don't actually think I'm putting in as much effort that I could be.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's a mindset shift, and to move the goalposts again, to build in
increasing
some
that
more
intensity.
cardio
Yeah.
and intensity.
Yeah. And you've got the capacity to do so now as well, I think.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that wasn't there 12 months ago, 9
Yeah.
months ago, 6 months ago, and
Yeah.
I think I would have been really dumb in the sense that it wouldn't have worked if I had said, right, I'm going to go do 6 CrossFit sessions a week and this, because I've seen someone else do CrossFit and they're an elite athlete and
Yeah.
they've got big muscles, so that's
got a
what
six-pack,
I've got to do that.
Yeah.
That would have been really foolish and silly. For me, it's been walking.
Yeah.
But now I'm at the stage where I can add some more intensity, I think, into my workouts, and build up some sprint sessions and things like that, because they're all things that I did once upon a time, haven't done for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
So let's start to yeah, build the intensity up a little bit and maybe on top add in some of those sessions.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Speaking of training, we've got Muay Thai soon. About an hour and a half. We're going to go punch each other in the face. And I'll make sure that he's training hard there as well.
Which, let's add in one more little tidbit before you say goodbye to everyone.
Go on.
I love Muay Thai.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
That's probably part of that intensity build up is finding something
That
you enjoy.
100%. And I think as well, doing something you enjoy is massive for adherence. Like, you can't do things that you hate. Like, it's not going to last long. You know, you can't do workouts that you hate. You like, people tell me, oh, I hate running. So why are you trying to run? why are you trying to do a 10K? Like, you don't need to run to lose weight if you don't like it, you know? And people watching this, they might be listening thinking, oh, well, a lot of people say, I just don't like exercise. No, you've just not found the right exercise that you enjoy. That's all it is. There's an exercise, there's a type of training out there that you will enjoy. You've just got to kind of be open-minded and like look for those things. And I have this thing, and I said it to you actually, about, what was it about? I said it about 3 days ago, about hip thrusts. Oh, I hate hip thrusts. No, Billy, you don't hate them. You're just not good at them yet.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced nobody hates any exercise.
Yeah.
They're just not very good at it. And the reason I believe this is because I used to tell myself I hated running. I was that guy when I first came to Thailand. I were a little bit heavier. I used to say, oh, I hate running. It hurts my knees. It hurts my hips. I'm not built for running. That's one I always used to use. Obviously, coming to Thailand, training Muay Thai twice a day, you're forced to run. And obviously, the more I ran, the better I got. The more I started to enjoy it. Weird that, innit? And now, like, running's one of my favourite things to do. So I'm convinced, like, you don't hate exercise. You're just not good at it yet. That's all it is. Because if you're good at something, you enjoy doing it, right? But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that's another big thing. Finding something you enjoy to stay consistent, essentially.
Yeah. And just depending on where people are starting their journey, it might not be, like, you don't have to go all in on that either. Like, for me, I haven't been ready to jump back into anything like that until probably now. Mm-hmm. So
now you're landing some pretty sweet body kicks on me.
Yeah,
sparring
we'll
last
just
week.
see. Let's
I'll have
drop
to
a
get
bit
my own
more
back
weight.
tonight.
Drop a bit more weight. Make a match and
Yeah, we'll get him a
find
fight.
someone.
Lady boxing in Lamai. Cool, Billy. Appreciate the time, mate. Hopefully everybody watching this got some value from it. Hopefully they got a few new little insights that they can kind of implement into their own weight loss journey. And yeah, you'll be seeing me and Billy in Chiang Mai doing the zip line when he's 20 kilos lighter. But yeah, no, I just want to say, mate, it's been a pleasure so far. The work's not done yet. We're on the right track. You know, 50 kilos, like, it's amazing. Like, it's one curly, which is crazy. But yeah, no, I appreciate your time, mate. And yeah, let's go punch each other in the face.
Perfect. Thanks, Elliot.
Nice
Appreciate
one.
it.